Yeah.
Last week, actually, in their game against Curse, was the one exception where pretty much everyone on EG did amazingly. It was a complete team victory. Pobelter was 7-1-7 on that Syndra. But even so, the fact that they get the Trist and the Braum, as those are the two most likely to carry the team, is a huge boon. And that's why they picked him with their first 2 picks.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We'll see what we can do with this one. 3 health and a mana potion for both supports. Lemonation is running heal, so a fully defensive bot lane here for Cloud9. Cleanse plus heal.
He's trying to be sneaky right now in that brush.
Doesn't require much effort. Just types in the name. Ward, Lemon, hit it! Okay, good. 10 gold. Sneaky gets the 10 CS lead. 10 gold lead, 1 CS. Ooh, Cleaver hits balls in the back of the head. 5 more gold for Lemon. Man, so much money coming in for C9 early game.
It's actually pretty crazy how important killing those wards as they're placed down can actually be in swinging the outcomes of a game. Let that be a lesson to all the people in solo queue who run into a brush and then tab out. It's a very dangerous thing to do.
Yep.
I had that happen yesterday.
Ooh, to you?
He didn't die,
okay,
but he didn't kill the ward.
Oh.
Yeah, it was real sad.
I was in a game. I was in bot lane Tribrush, just at the bottom left. We killed 4 wards in a row.
Wow.
Sightstone killed it. He's like, all right, this time's going to work. Sightstone. We leave after the 4th ward. The AD carry put the trinket ward down. And we're like, should have waited 4 more seconds. That was sad. But it was 120 gold.
Congratulations. Interesting, actually, how EG got vision of where Meteos started. A very critical early game success right there. A lot of teams like doing this against Eve since you never know where she's going to be. Now, Helios has a couple options. He either completely mirrors the Eve from red buff to blue buff, or he tries a very quick gank because he knows exactly where Eve is going to be progressing.
Looks like it's going to be Helios grabbing his Wraiths for now, so
he's just going to mirror.
Take a slow route.
And there's a decent chance that they will meet up in the mid lane come level 3.
Ooh, nice long-range bind from Lemon. And right now, Cloud9 actually have the push lead here, despite the fact that neither leashed and already both of the Targon's stacks got used. The push actually faster for Cloud9 here. And they'll hit level 2 off of this melee minion right here.
Yeah. Pretty important to be able to shove Braum in early.
Oh, that's a bind, though. Some good harass coming down. Shield from Crepo. They just re-engage anyway. Lemonation gonna get stunned up there. Gets the ignite on, has to flash away. One attack,
oh, man.
not quite gonna get the stun.
I mean, that is what we talked about as far as Tristan and Braum being very confident in their level 2. It wasn't synced up properly there. It actually started with the bind, and it ends up being EG burning more summoner spells than Cloud9, which means advantage Cloud9 in that lane, where they are the disadvantaged combo coming up with an early summoner spell advantage.
Look at that word from Meteos, though. Spots out Helios on the invade and says, I'm not going to be anywhere near you, Lee Sin. I know you want to duel me. Yep. This gank can't possibly work here.
Helios wasting a lot of time because of that nice ward by Meteos. He actually pinged out that spot well in advance, saying, I'm going to ward here because that's where I think Helios is going to come.
This is really risky by Helios.
Read Helios by a book.
He really wants this fight, but he's in the middle of enemy champions. I don't know why he stayed. He was spotted. Ignite is on. One attack from Dead, burning down, and the first blood goes over to High.
Double buffs right now for Cloud9. Helios, a big time miscalculation right there, knowing that Pobelter had no early lane presence against the likes of Orianna. And that was pretty much Meteos just outwarding and outplaying Helios.
Yes, he is Gragas. And he is up 8 CS.
He's going to be beating up Mundo for a while.
Full wave, full wave. Ooh, I think he got it. Yeah, Mundo is going to be one of those champions that waits around for a while.
We'll check back in 15 minutes to see how that's going.
We'll check back when the TP into Dragon fights.
True.
Otherwise, that lane is going to be CS at the bottom of the screen. You guys who are fans of balls can just look at those numbers tick up.
Uh-oh.
Or just get back on the screen. Thanks, observers. Helios safer in his own jungle now.
Yeah, but he's pretty far behind. I mean, that early pressure from Lee Sin is completely gone. And he's put Pobelter in quite a pickle as well, having to lane against a double-buffed Orianna now. Although the flash was burned, so maybe a return gank will be attempted by Helios, which is why Meteos needs to be very studious about sticking around the mid lane. They would win a 2v2 counter gank, but he needs to be there for it to happen. Otherwise, those double buffs are going right back to Twisted Fate and Lee Sin.
But there's a thing to keep in mind is the Evelynn double buffs have timed out right about now. And the red's like gone in about 15 seconds here. Yeah, okay, it's gone now.
I'm making sure to ward both sides. He is really, really paranoid about those double buffs, knowing he's down a flash.
It's a very smart play. Yeah, I mean, Hai as a player, I've seen do a lot of interesting things. I remember he used to shove the first 2 waves as fast as possible, immediately recall for double wards, and walk back to lane. And he would use that to let minutes like 3 through 6 be safe.
Yep. Or allow him to play exceedingly aggressive.
Yeah.
And really throw people off that he was playing against, because they're thinking, how does a mid laner play so aggressive? How does he know he's not going to get ganked is one of the things. Because a lot of mid laners are kept in check just purely by gank presence or pressure.
Yep. Or as Complexity calls it, you just bow flex pretending your jungler is there. And they'll oftentimes back off.
Yeah, bow flexing is Complexity's term for just bluffing that their jungler is behind them. Yet, Hai would know because he has the vision.
That's the trick with Meteos here is he's invisible. A couple of defensive pink wards, but not too many so far for Evil Geniuses. The route to level 6 is soon.
Yeah, he should get level 6 off the white.
Yeah, he's like 85%. Meanwhile, Helios has got some time to go still. There's 6. Helios will need buffs to respawn, I think, to get his 6. He'll make his way over. Longsword advantage for Meteos. It's the benefit you get for having the assist on First Blood. Hai. Nice ward over the wall, just saying, hey, I can keep tracking Helios.
So many wards by Hai. He's still got one in his inventory.
And that is a dying pink ward.
Yeah, the vision control is really going away for EG right here. It's going to be difficult. Oh, man, losing both pink wards is so painful this early on into the game.
And they're already there for the red buff. Steel Balls does have pressure on this top lane, and looks like they haven't seen Helios in a while. There's the smite. Very clean red buff steal.
I mean, Cloud9 has been playing much better, and it just seems like every week they get more and more coordinated. The start of this game has been nearly flawless for Cloud9. Taking out both pink wards, can't say enough about how important that is by 7 minutes.
Well, it's 260 gold swing for those. And now Evil Geniuses kind of relying on the boiling that hasn't fallen down. It's all tech and Crapo there. These summoners are all back up, so that earlier altercation didn't mean too much. It's going to mean basically a 1 CS lead. Lemon's got a pink ward down there in his own tri-brush. Helios and Crapo do want to steal, but we've seen this before. They go in the enemy jungle, but life could be difficult. Nice hop over the wall. Very nicely played. Crapo was there to get his teammate out, and they will trade red buffs, actually.
Desperately trying to get something back there. It is actually fairly critical as far as experience goes in this game. Being able to match that without proper vision control is equally as impressive.
And showing no fear, Evil Geniuses stay within 500 gold, which is pretty much less than the First Blood was worth in the first place. So their lanes really are going fine here. Both blue buffs have gone over to the mid laner, so they're holding equal. Hai didn't get anything for double buffs himself.
Yeah, we can't forget about Twisted Fate's passive, though, which happens so frequently in these situations. He's gotten about 300 gold from it. So in a normal gold-looking game, it would be a roughly 1,000 gold differential.
Fair point. That is Cloud9 looking decent then. But hey, money's money. TS going to have items. Equal so far in the mid lane. Equal CS as well, just the First Blood gold as we talked about. Cloud9 are typically a team that seem to play pretty risk-averse early game. It's often about Meteos finding the enemy jungler and keeping him down so that their other lanes can just play their one-on-ones and two-on-twos. Meteos becomes a walking ward, basically.
Meteos beat him to the jungle item as well. Spirit of the Elder Lizard is completed, meaning if he does run into a Lee Sin, he most likely wins the duel. Unless... Yep, they're even. Never mind. Helios will be completing that shortly.
There it is. There's a Lizard Elder, and Cloud9 right now are shoving up onto the turret down here in the bottom lane. Trinity Force is going to be the first item for Sneak. We did get BF Sword come through for the Tristana.
Still can't say enough about this lane, though. They've passed the point of danger for the most part here. When Kog'Maw's level 6, his ultimate is, when wielded properly, one of the best laning skills in the game for an AD carry. And he's doing his best to keep Altec and Krepo, the no sustain lane right there, out of farm range.
And trying to keep Lee Sin away from range as well. Media's puts a
They
ward
just sent
down.
it
It's got
back
the
to
white
base.
camp.
They wanted to be able to get a kill there.
But they're pulling the team down towards Dragon right here. 4 men. Teleport is up for both top laners. Tristana had back right there, so no AD carry for Evil Geniuses. But there's the TF ulti. There's the teleport in. It's going to be the backup. The 2-man knock with their Meteos takes a bunch of damage. The kickback from Helios, and they claim the kill. Now Krepo gets shockwaved in, but the shield comes up. Stays alive a few more seconds, but now the fight has engaged. Altec is around, and Helios does claim Dragon.
What a play, though, by EG right there, Freak, because they did not have the people in position to start it, but they get the Dragon, I believe, and a kill. And it pulls them ahead in gold for a game where they've pretty much been getting bullied for the first 11 minutes.
Beautiful
Huge
stuff.
turn of events.
Absolutely massive. Evil Geniuses. Hobelter fighting up against Balls in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, check this out. Cloud9 was hoping to rush this down, and you thought with high zoning with the Orianna ball there's no way EG gets through. But then because Balls just did not have an adequate teleport spot, Cloud9 didn't have any wards at Dragon to stop that assault. Balls had to come in from behind. By the time the fight was actually relevant, Balls is there. He doesn't end up casting a single spell. So EG collapsed down properly, and Helios gets the nice Dragon.
I love the play from Helios, too. He landed the Q onto Evelynn. Instead of queuing in and trying to kick, he flashed to kick into the team, followed up with the Resonating Strike to deal more damage, and ensured that Meteos died right away. It was a really great play.
Making up for that early game mistake he made in the Wraith camp. He had to lose a lot of early game pressure, as we saw with all those nice wards Cloud9 placed. But they may be out of the woods as far as that danger goes.
He's got a Sightstone for himself now, so he's going to be able to really try to keep the opponents down with his ward control. Meteos says, you know, we got your red buff timer. We could have last time. Didn't even have to type it in chat. Helios kind of knows about this, wants to be on that side of the map as well. He's going to go set up the race. There's the red respawn, and even though Popos are just recalled, C9, they don't want that. Balls is back to base. He said, guys, I have to go back and buy. I have Merlanamacon. Just give this one up. Helios will get that pretty cleanly. In the face of a ward, but either way, it's still the buff going over.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that Dragon play really opens up a lot of possibilities here. You can see Spirit Visage by Inox against Balls' Morellonomicon. A very early Morellonomicon to try and keep the Mundo ultimate in check in team fights. I don't think it will be enough to create early kill pressure onto Dr. Mundo unless Meteos got there with a very aggressive gank. And Meteos seems a little bit preoccupied though after losing that Dragon War with Helios.
Yeah, he's just taking his time there. Cloud9 just happy to wait for team fights to happen. That's kind of their biggest moment of power, is just they get to those 5-on-5s, and they just always work for Cloud9. They just seem to always be the right fights.
It's been one of the big ways, Freak, that they have made their resurgence this split, is instead of trying to overforce the early game plays, they are more content letting the game come to them and then relying on being a better team in the late game, just through communication and inherent synergy, because they've been playing together for so long. It has worked out for them during this winning streak, and it is kind of the way they have to go here now. Wow,
Meteos gonna get caught up by Pobalt right there. Great ulti comes out. The slow in from Krepo as well. There's the ball. There's the shot. With gold card's gonna be enough though. That's gonna be a kill picked up now. High goes for the counter engage. Ignite is on. Pobalter runs away and gets just enough health back from leveling up to stay alive. 2-0 EG.
Yikes. Meteos didn't ult at any point during that death, which honestly, if he leads with an ult on Pobalter, they at least get a kill back. But the collapse from EG was fantastic there, and they are actually going to be getting a return steal on this red buff.
Wow, look at that. Evil Geniuses finally getting their own steals that aren't turned around on. Helios already had his red buff, and EG looking happy. Don't need the timer, just want the buff to go away. 2,000 gold, Evil Geniuses.
Yeah.
They need at least 3 wins to go to playoffs. This could be one of them.
I mean, Meteos was stuck between a rock and a hard place. So much damage from Pobalter right at the start. And here, he should have just ulted right there before the shockwave hit. But he was paranoid about running away, not shielding himself. It would have been enough. Dangerous game plus a level helped Pobalter live after that one. Could have at the very least come away with the 2-for-1. But instead, it's a 2-0, and Meteos falls farther behind.
And this could be rough because EG can keep snowballing this lead farther. Pobelter picked up early distortion boots to have more ghosts, more flashes, and just ults all over the place. Fight in the top lane. Inox does have the healing debuff on him. Balls really wants to stop him out there. There's the body slam. More damage comes through. Ulti gonna keep him just enough.
He's basically just trying to fight through a sustain, making sure the healing debuff stays on as long as possible so that he can, over time, push him out of the lane. That's how the matchup goes, though. He can't get out.
He does hold a bit of a CS lead and some turret pressure as well. Balls has typically been able...
Pretty substantial CS lead, actually.
Yeah. 30 is a pretty good margin there. And honestly, it's typically allowed C9 to hold pressure on that side of the map. There was one mistake, actually. They could have gotten the earlier red buff steal, the one about 3 minutes ago. But it was right as Balls had recalled and had no TP. But otherwise, he's kept that lane pressure to allow normally jungle invades up there.
Yeah, it's just actually been Helios keeping very good tabs on Meteos after giving up that first blood too high. And they're very much about this next dragon play. Cloud9 probably not going to be the ones to initiate this one, although they are still covered with a smattering of wards in this area. EG's showing a lot of confidence, though. I mean, itemization-wise, a Trinity Force Kog'Maw is really scary.
Yes.
Compared to what Altec has right now. So if he could somehow get in position to deal damage, it would be enough to swing this fight. But EG with the gold lead and the confidence right now may not realize that.
Oh, TP coming in for Balls. Can he knock up Evil Geniuses? Helios and Crabbo trying to run away. Looks like they will do so. Altec pushes them back. Everybody moved in some direction there.
Yeah, more stuff down there, though. Inox is down without having to use TP. It's about how healthy can Sneaky get before they want to do this dragon, and do they want to force again? EG doing a lot of things to kind of spread out. They think they can collapse properly because of the Twisted Fate. Cloud9 tries to go for Inox.
Inox in a fight, pops the ulti pretty early
so
on.
So many spells from EG here.
Wow, they're going in. Lemonation's gonna black shield the ulti though. Creppo and EG now down 2 ultis so far.
It's about that team communication for Cloud9, just baiting a lot of EG spells out. No Braum ultimate, no Trist ultimate, no Mundo ultimate. Every ultimate up for Cloud9. Now would be the time to go to Dragon if they feel confident.
Well, High's going to hold the mid lane for now, and Sneaky's going to kill this camp off. But yes, this could be the fight.
Are they really doing Dragon while down this many ultimates? This is so bold by EG right now. Cloud9, they're almost daring Cloud9 to fight them.
Meteos does not come in time to steal it, and that is Helios claiming another Dragon. Evil Genius is holding those. 3,000 gold up.
I mean, if anything, that just displays how much respect Cloud9 is giving to EG's power level at this point in the game. You have a Trinity Force Kog'Maw, you have the Morellonomicon on Gragas, and you have 3 ultimates down on the enemy side, yet EG still controls the spot. Unreal, and it just strengthens their lead.
Well, that's just Cloud9, man. They really play these games fairly slow. And they're relying on people to just crush their lanes.
They're relying on Sneaky yet again. I mean, he's playing Kog'Maw at this point. And they think a late game Kog'Maw rules all.
Well, he's got cleanse, he's got a black shield. Theoretically, he gets away from all this. Not that many people on EG can really run into the back line. Mundo can run forward, but through a lot of slows, it's difficult.
You're absolutely right there. Altec as well trying to power up. He's at a really weak point in the game right now. Sneaky and Lemon are not really punishing it either. Having a Trinity Force on Kog'Maw is just ridiculous in terms of power when compared to what Altec has. Yet, one thing that did happen is because Sneaky had to take Cleanse for Twisted Fate Fear, it did lower their laning phase a little bit more so.
And even still, they managed to hold on to the lane. So, I mean, it's just good stuff by C9. The Morgana kept them all safe, and they were unafraid of Helios pretty much the entire time. It's great play. And as far as the dual lane's concerned, so Evil Geniuses, they want the bottom side of the map. Dragon's gone, but they say, you know what, Southern Jungle, this could be ours. Pink ward down, some greens as well. I like the high. He always checks the brush with his cube, make sure it's safe, then wards it. It's more range on command attack than a ward itself, so of course, smart choice.
Jeez.
Cloud9 group top.
Yeah. They actually made it up there without getting spotted, so it's all about whether High can fend off these 4, and if Inox can escape the army that is Cloud9 right now.
Looks like he's not going to be able to. Actually does burn flash. He wants to buy even more time. There's the body slam. Binding won't land, but they are still chasing. Great slows hit. This will be Inox falling. Where is EG going to push, though? They could have pushed bottom tier 2, but they're looking mid lane for the outer turret. They'll get that one, though, instead.
Blue team's turret
It's
has
actually a
been
pretty good
destroyed.
trade for EG when you consider this. They did kill the Mundo,
Team's
but
turret has been destroyed.
they're losing potentially more. Let's see how much damage EG can do to this mid turret before Cloud9 arrives.
Well, Kog'Maw, Eve still pushing the top lane. Mid lane tier 2 down to half. And EG will not get much more. They could bait in this brush. Crept up with the shield
EG
down.
hasn't made it back for the rest of Cloud9, though. Cloud9 did not send the whole defense back. Could be a kill and 2 turrets for just a turret. Twisted Fate.
The rest of the team
Stand 'em
could show up. Will they ult into this?
Pretty smart for Pobelther not to go in there.
That was, yeah. I think he wasn't going to be durable enough, but that was one of those plays where you're like, that might just give us a double kill and own the map.
Pobelther needs his Zhonya's before he's willing to make a play like that.
Yeah. It's about 1,000 gold away from that, depending on inventory. There it is.
Be afraid.
Yes.
Be very afraid of Pobelther's Twisted Fate play here.
2-0-1. He's made
Wow.
every kill so far for his team.
Those are incredibly early Alacrity boots by Lemon Nation.
That's the Lemon style.
He always does do Alacrity boots on Morg, but I mean, even before he would do him a kills. I imagine it's because Sneaky has cleanse. He's not as obsessed with getting the kills done. He really wants that extra move speed, though.
Lemon has really interesting theories on support play as well. One of the pages he used during the NA playoffs was actually gold generation seals on Morgana, because he needed the defensive stats so little, because he can just play far in the back. He's like, I'll just get a little bit more gold this game and get my cooldown reduction up from buying items, things like that. And I haven't seen anyone run GP10 seals in a really long time. I thought that was really interesting. Helios giving money to Elimination, helping the cause.
EG has a pretty decent sized gold lead here. And they still have Tristana Mundo and Twisted Fate, plus Braum, all quite good late game. Cloud9 has the Kog'Maw and Orianna. If we're thinking about making it to late game, it's really hard to say if there's a clear team comp advantage. It's really going to have to do with how well they play and how safe Altec can be versus how well Sneaky can avoid the Mundo or cut through him.
So let's see. The Dragon's up in 45 seconds. Evil Geniuses have done a phenomenal job of controlling objectives this game. 2-1 in turrets, every Dragon so far. That's been their way in, and Cloud9 have largely let them. Cloud9's been very defensive these last few weeks. It has worked for them, as you mentioned. 6 wins in the last 7 games. The last few weeks have been kind to them, but it's always a risk.
Yeah.
I've seen them have to come back from games multiple times because of their slow and often weak early game. But it's a style that C9 seem very content to play.
The strange thing is they had a really good early game this game as well. As far as their opening to the match goes,
Yeah.
it was just that first Dragon fight where things started going awry. Still kind of the early game, but that's even leaking towards the mid game. It's really just now Cloud9 trying to make it to the late game in one piece. This Dragon fight is going to be very critical. Good damage down onto Helios, and they look poised to contest this one.
All right, it's on the shot calling then. Out rotating. Looks like both teams do want to contest this, so then who can maneuver their army better right now?
Yeah. Midos would love to get a flank in, but he's got to be incredibly careful against a Twisted Fate. He can get revealed very easily and jumped on.
C9. 5 strong on the river. EG forced back towards their side, but they've got Altec pushing the mid lane. Crepo joins him as well, so that's something C9 has to react to. They've got to turn around, clear these waves.
Cloud9 could probably content taking the mid turret and trade of a dragon, but that's not exactly what Pobelther has in mind. He's going to force a second tier bottom turret for a move because he can always Twisted Fate in if Cloud9 decides to do anything sneaky.
No, just going to get the wave into the turret, though, and Ball's going to clear that. High gets slowed, doesn't care too much, though. Looks like not much gained there. Lemon gets 30 gold, and Altec continues to hold the mid lane here. Now, there is a wave slowly pushing, I believe, towards EG side of the map in the top lane. They'll have to
EG's
deal with
just
that
gonna
at
start
some
it again.
point, but they're going to start this.
They know they have enough vision control, and they're going to force Cloud9 through a funnel.
And then Inox, a little bit of damage as well from high. EG trying to control the pace here.
Early Void Staff as well. You can see a lot of MR being picked up by both Helios and Inox. So Balls wants to make sure he can poke out the front line just a little bit. That's not your typical Gragas build. A lot of people would do a Death Cap or a Lich Bane as their first two items. But these first two items do give a more pronounced amount of mid-game power. They're actually two of the most efficient AP items in the game if that's the start of your build.
They're also arguably the two best items against Mundo, since AP doesn't scale the percent health damage on W. Someone you expect to have much HP.
Yeah, but this Dragon's getting a little bit lower. EG continues to take some poke. They've been playing this game for quite some time now.
And Helios and Krepo are starting to suffer for that one. Inox back to basically full HP. They try one more time.
No sustain on either side, so the poke sticks from both ends.
Here we go, they're gonna go for this one pretty hard. Half HP on this one. Where is Meteos? He's not quite in range, runs forward, not gonna get in time. Shockwave does not catch a whole bunch, and Krepo forced to run away there. Does go down to Sneaky. Inox knocked into the team. Helios gonna take down Meteos, but 2 for 1 so far for Cloud9. Helios has got to be careful. High stays healthy. Ball's kicked into 3 more people. Does Helios chase on elimination? Looks like he's not going to. He's gonna run away, but gets spotted out by Sneaky, who's got a red buff, slows him down. Forced to flash away.
He's in enemy territory, though. No farther chase. Pobelter still has ultimate, actually. This will be interesting how EG, how much can Pobelter push in this bottom turret? Amazing that the Shockwave completely missed, and Cloud9 was still able to win that fight 2 for 1, but this turret race is interesting.
All right, so mid-outer turret looks like bottom tier 2 going to go down, but mid-tier 2 also likely to fall here. Small lead C9, they will get that one. Of course, remember that turret advantage went C9, but Dragon went EG.
Teleport, Inox.
And they want to pick now onto Boss. Cleaver's going to hit. TF is going to reach in time. And Krepo shows up. That is a kill picked up. Pobelter goes in for high. And they're going to find that kill. Now on towards Sneaky. Altec trying to do what damage he can. No slows available. The flash forced away from Kog'Maw. Cleaver won't hit.
What a counter move right there by EG. Using the turret pressure of Pobelter and then utilizing the Twisted Fate ultimate to spectacular moves. And this is a very, very risky call. Sneaky, can he make it out of base? He does have home guards, so he just bought them, but that Baron's going down fast. Meteos does have smite.
Meteos and Lemon are around, and yes, he does have smite. The pummel comes down. The health bar is actually staying pretty high for EG.
They don't have enough to contest.
Meteos is spotted. He's trying. He goes in with the black shield. Can't smite it in time, but he goes for Pobelter. Goes down too fast. EG get Baron and a kill.
Off of a lost team fight, they turn it into it, Baron. Objective control is the name of the game right now for EG. And they secure a very risky Baron with a very bold call.
Absolutely beautiful play, though. The pick that they got on those two guys on Balls and High a second ago and just turning it into everything else. We knew Helios was going to be the shot caller when he joined the team. And this is one of the best games I've seen from him strategically. Completely perfect objective control. Every Dragon, every Baron, they're up in turrets. Beautiful stuff for EG.
Yeah, and Altec is sitting on about 3,000 gold. So when he goes back to base, he's going to be packing a much bigger punch when he comes back. And I do want to talk about that Baron just a little bit, Freak, because so often do we see people saying, it was a Baron throw. Oh, they shouldn't have done Baron in 20-some minutes. Baron is one of the best ways of securing victory. And of course it is a risk that frequently backfires on teams because that's just the way it is. There's so many skill shots in League of Legends. There's so many variables that you can't know and that you have to outplay that Baron calls like that oftentimes decide games. We saw in that previous match between Curse and Complexity. Yeah. Those weren't horrendous calls by Curse to go for Baron. They were clutch smites by Kez and timely collapses by Complexity to stop Curse from making potentially game-winning plays. And this right here was just EG trying to take hold of the game in an aggressive fashion, knowing that the smite steal was a potential possibility, and they didn't know for sure if Sneaky was going to be back in base or coming to end up the harassment. They got a little bit lucky, and now they hold the Baron buff and a 6,000 gold lead.
And now Evil Genius is, what can you do with this buff lead? 6,000 gold is tenuous sometimes against a team like Cloud9, who are great at coming back from games. EG have had honestly a history of having very rough end games where they hold leads but can't close it out. So I want to know what EG can do with this Baron buff. They've gotten here from their own sheer force of will and great skill. But now what else can they grab? They should be the more powerful team. They should be able to push their way around the map.
How well can Inox dive turrets here would be a big factor. I don't think he can dive very well, actually.
No armor items on Helios. Very few armor items on Inox. Krepo's got none either. There's wards spotting Pobalter around this.
And they don't necessarily need them against a pretty much entirely magic damage team.
Yeah.
So the Mundo can become extremely tanky here.
You do have to be a little bit concerned about Ruin King, though, because those MR items all give health. And Sneaky will have some good damage output. Should be getting an eye edge next. Knowing the physical damage is going to be pretty important right now so far with the items. Mid lane tier 2 does go down. Evil Genius's one objective so far claimed with the Baron buff. What's next?
It doesn't seem like EG is going for inhibitor turrets with this Baron. I think they're just trying to gain as much map control as possible and then itemize for more success later on. The Spectre's Cowl being on Altec this early means EG is really worried about security and volatility in this game. They do not want people to get picked off, and if they can all build a little bit of MR or early Banshees Veils, it will make it much more difficult for Cloud9 to come back.
Yeah, EG definitely playing a bit of a longer game in their minds right here.
It's
they have
the
set up
absolute right call in this situation. Just because there is such little diversification of Cloud9's damage right now. Until Sneaky gets like 4 or 5 items and his itemization is doing more damage than his W for physical damage versus magic damage diversification, Cloud9's got to be like 70-80% magic damage in team fights right now, as far as stuff actually happening.
Absolutely, absolutely it is the case. But they're going to look for top tier 2 right now. Baron buff has timed out though, but they spent a lot of time already warding up the bottom jungle. Look at the vision in the southern jungle right now. C9 has to face check like 5 different brushes to reach Dragon as it respawns right now.
Should be another Dragon for EG.
Yep.
There's a slight risk that EG would consider this Dragon too much in the bag and that Cloud9 could kind of surprise them and show up with 5 people, but that is eliminated by the fact that EG did ward pretty well. And of course Cloud9's not even thinking about it.
Not going to. So, 8,000 gold now. Evil Genius is looking pretty good 32.5 minutes in. They are still in control of this game. Good performances from every single member. The 3 big MR items are now on the team. Inox has Banshees plus Visage. The Locket's there for Helios. They're definitely concerned about being defensive here and saying, we won't die, but by the way, Altec's going to kill all of you.
True.
Bloodthirster coming next for him. Another defensive item, actually. Everyone seems to be going BT third on AD carries nowadays.
Yeah, I actually think that's in large part because we're seeing so many AP champions in the top lane. There's generally only one tank, and it's in the jungle, and those guys aren't nearly as tanky as the top lane tanks have been in the past. And I think Bloodthirster third is just about the same DPS-wise against low armor targets, but better defensively.
Okay.
Freak's thinking about its head here. Yeah,
it's
close. I think Last Whisper is more damage.
It's worse, but the damage per slot is pretty close, to be fair. So,
but defensive-wise and sustain-wise,
good blue, the flash in, the slow to high. They got the knock, he's got no way out. The kick into the wall and the shockwave. Not going to do anything for him. Altec grabs the kill and he jumps in onto Meteos, who's got nowhere to go. Black Shield's on, but you can't protect auto attack damage from AD carries with that.
And
it's away.
Switch just flipped in EG's head there. They saw an opportunity and it was go time. Now with no high alive, EG is looking towards the middle inhibitor. But can they get past the wave clear of Gragas?
Well, they're going to try to.
Still an ult for Inox, so there's a chance he could just tank up this turret.
Will they dive? 25 seconds on high. Krepo going to take the first couple of shots there. Not going to block the barrel, but damage coming in for Altec. Hitting minions first. There's the turret down to half HP. The knockback onto Inox, though, has got to be a bit careful. The minions are cleared. Altec, though. Altec spent 3 auto attacks hitting a cannon minion when he could have knocked that turret down lower.
That is potentially going to hurt them, actually. They're not getting that turn anymore. They need to prep Baron. It's up in 20 seconds, and they realize they took a fair bit of poke, and high will be up.
Yeah, Krepo is fairly injured right now. I think he's going to want to recall. Altec has a blue buff. He's going to grab a red buff now for himself as well, so 2 seconds off the rapid fire cooldown. 7 on, 18 off. Slight lead for him. Sneaky trying to check brushes with his ultimate. Going to let his team walk into these. One of the great things about both Gragas and Cog is they both check brushes really easily.
Yeah, it's incredibly tough for EG to actually sneak Baron or create Baron plays that catch Cloud9 checking because of the immense range, as you said, of that scouting.
Ward spot C9 though. EG have some wards in the lane. I do like lane wards. They're really strong late game. You can't rely on your minion waves or turrets to reveal. So you can see one of the high traffic areas of your opponent, see which way they go. Sneaky wants some harass, gets Crepo to about 4/5. Not many wards on Baron. In fact, C9 on 4 balls.
No TF.
Might want this. Knock it from Crepo, and here comes the attack. They knock ult again, force a flash away from Sneaky, but here goes Pobelter, but he can't find anything. Shockwave only gets Inox. He's got a flash away with a shield on. There's the ulti finally popped in. Belter, nice cleanse, keeps Sneaky alive, but took some damage for that one.
I mean, Cloud9 saw the opportunity there to try and get to fight because they knew Pobelter was going to be late, but they still can't get kills, and now EG maintains control of the map at this juncture.
They maintain a 9.5 thousand gold lead as well, binding onto Crepo, but he's going to clear wards away. EG don't quite own vision. There we go. Helios with the oracles. He's going to get that. Pinks are down. EG still playing for wards right now, not yet rushing on Baron. Sneaky back to full health. He's already healed up with home guards.
I mean, you can see the power of Pobelter right now with that Lich Bane. That gold card, despite it being cleansed by Sneaky, took about half of his health. Pobelter actually, when he teleported in, gold carded the minion. You can imagine if he would have landed that first gold card on a priority target, we could be seeing a different game right now.
Yeah, he just wasn't in range. He actually tossed that away as fast as possible to put it back on cooldown.
True.
Lock a new one, find a new target. Sneaky like immediately hightailed it out. He played that really well. Actually forced Altec to flash as well. And still the flash on Kog'Maw. Still Black Shield is up.
Pretty much max items on Pobelter. He just picked up that death cap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think that was most recent.
Yeah,
he had Lich Bane before.
He didn't have death cap before that, so his ability power actually jumps from 412 to 650.
Jeez.
Well, 646. I was rounding up to make it sound scarier.
It is scary. Don't worry, 646 also scary.
Yeah.
More syllables too. Belter gonna crush the golems. Kills them rather quickly. And here we go. EG have used their first Baron to claim one turret. Pobelter split pushing his claim to second. They now have killed all 6 that are outside the base. They set up Dragon, got that. They set up Baron, but haven't found a fight off of it that they wanted yet.
And we talked before the game about how the cleanse on Sneaky and the Morgana make it difficult for Twisted Fate to come in and lock him down. It almost doesn't matter at this point. With how much damage Pobelter has, if he just gold cards with a Lich Bane proc and a stacked deck, it nearly one-shot Sneaky. He doesn't have magic resist right now, and it would be enough to push him out of the fight.
Oh, they want this. Ulti comes in. Who are they going to find? Shotgun's going to catch him, though. Pobelter forced to Zhonya's. Damage comes through, but here's the rest of the team. Can Pobelter get away? No, he cannot. Balls claims one. The slow comes down onto Inox, and Balls gets over the wall. High stays safe as well. EG try for it and can't quite get the kills.
We said almost doesn't matter. It still does if they lock the damage down just right as he teleports in. He could not get his damage out before taking a truckload. That was a timing game. It only comes after thousands of matches that you can time shutting down a Twisted Fate coming in so quickly. Absolutely crucial move by Cloud9 there to survive the assault of EG.
And it was close, but it did not quite work there for Evil Geniuses, so Cloud9 gets some breathing room. 28 seconds of power play here.
Watch this right here. Shockwave as Pobelter comes in by high. Then he can't get the gold card stun until after, I believe he's out, and then he dies from balls. That was not only the Twisted Fate ultimate being timed properly by high Shockwave, it was the Gragas ultimate being timed 2.5 seconds after the activation of Zhonya's. Spectacular play, but still a 9,000 gold lead for EG.
And Cloud9, all they can do is put some pink wards back down on a Baron and grab their own blue buff again. And EG are back in control right here. By the way, Dragon's up, but they've got to be careful about taking that down, because Sneaky kills Baron in about 2 seconds, give or take.
His items are really far behind, though.
Yeah.
Still doesn't even have that Phantom Dancer.
And that's going to really hurt his physical damage. He has barely any AD to crit in the first place, so it's still a very magic damage-heavy profile. It's like just basically the Ruin King proc with his entire physical damage.
Red team has slain
And Randuin's now out for Inox, so he's taken up. Randuin started as well for Helios, got a Warden's Mail already. There's the Giant's Belt. The tanks are actually eclipsing Sneaky at this time. Like, Sneaky's like really 5,000 gold away from being a real threat to the frontliners. That is a scary thing.
It's a long time, though, that Cloud9 would have to hold out.
Balls has a lot though. 13,000 gold, has the 4 big AP items.
Yeah, he's a real threat to Altec as well. I mean, they see Inox in the bottom lane, they'd force the teleport in. How quickly can Cloud9 get this Baron down? Very quickly is the answer. Can't even get a steal at this point. EG's slow.
Coming in, Baron Nashor goes down, the fight starts, shotgun gets Pobelter, but big damage comes through. Lemon is gone, Pobelter will fall, but is this the fight that EG wants? They are chasing down. High has a shield, Sneaky gets away from the queue. High will die, Sneaky's got nowhere to go. In comes Altec, there's the knockback. 3 kills picked up for Evil Geniuses on top of the Baron. Can they push?
I mean, another amazing shockwave on top of Pobelter's Twisted Fate, but it is not enough because Krepo lands a spectacular Braum ultimate right in there and completely clears out 3 members of Cloud9. Now, how much can they push with these gargantuan death timers?
Balls and Meteos, the only ones alive for 15 seconds. The mid and AD carry player still gone for 30. Top lane inhibitor turret is going to go down. Still a 3v2. Inox does not seem to feel pain right here. And of course, you still got Helios setting up the mid lane as well. Lemonation back alive. 4v3 on the map. Meteos kicked back by Helios, but an inhibitor down.
Yeah, both Balls and Meteos are still wearing that Baron buff, but they just lost a very critical part of their base. Yeah, Helios just late right here. The Glacial Fissure hits 5 from Krepo, and then the wild card still did go out from Pobelter there, but he gets ripped apart. Then it's just all about the resets from Trist right now with the red buff. No true escape. Cloud9 does their best to split up so that they can't get chained Gooba stomped by Altec's Trist. They still lose 3 and the inhibitor though.
And what's crazy about this as well is think about the actual value of that fight, because Evil Geniuses are now up 11,000 gold. Baron Nashor is worth 125 more global gold than an inhibitor turret. There's barely extra value there if you don't count the buff, which is off of more than half the team right there. EG actually come out ahead, I would say, overall in that engagement, and they're still looking to pressure.
And itemization-wise, they are more complete than ever. I'm surprised Inox actually went with a Thornmail, considering what lackluster amounts of physical damage are coming out of Cloud9. But I think that's more so they can tank turrets and try and end this game.
I think so as well. EG gonna cash into the fact that Inox should be unkillable right now. And that could very well be the case. Pobelter running double elixirs for himself. Upgraded Scrying Orb as well. He's completely maxed out on items 43 minutes in.
700 ability power with his Elixir of Brilliance right now. But he has not been able to pull off a nice combo. High's been right on top of that Twisted Fate fort with perfectly timed shockwaves. Plus the wave clear. Basically means EG has to assault without minions.
It's going to be a bit difficult. There is a big wave building up top lane. I wonder if it actually has 2 supers in it, because that would be very hard to kill. Pobelter has got to be careful. Pops goes flashed away from Balls. Here comes Helios on the side. Pobelter losing a lot of health, though. He's got to be pretty careful. Breaks the black shield, but no health left on him. Has to run away from Kog'Maw. Big wave in the top side. EG can't get much headway. The mid inhibitor turret actually fully healed since they last sieged it.
Jeez, it's the stall game right there. You can see the ranged assault of Sneaky ever so close to picking off Pobelter, and that delays the siege once more. Pobelter has to go back to base, run all the way to the other side of the map, which takes roughly 30 seconds, and that's going to be a while for Cloud9 to recover.
All right, Cloud9. Can they make it to late game? They've got plenty of room to grow. A full 2 items left to buy for Sneaky, whereas Altec is already done. See if he can get there in any time soon. Pretty much only Krepo has a lot of room still to go there. Inox 1 slot left. The rest owning pink wards. Krepo actually probably wouldn't even sub that slot out anyway. Wants the vision as a support. Helios just off on the side. And they've got the teammates back. There's a wave pushing the top lane right now, and EG are trying to siege mid.
All right. Inox taking turret shots, but no one in position to clear minions away. Or sorry, to actually take shots at the turret. The only guy that they can really trust to doing that is Altec. Pobelter would like to go in there, but he's been punished a few too many times this game. I mean, 1 Lichbane proc with a few Tristana shots would be enough to take down a turret. It's just they can't seem to find these windows.
Pobelter being a little bit too afraid to try for that one. Is Flash and Ghost are down and doesn't want to risk getting hit up by an Evelynn. They're going back and forth, trying to get Cloud9 to maybe run out of mana or to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Altec going to get himself the red buff. Of course, EG had to wait out maybe some of the Baron as well, if they wanted to. The Dragon's up if they want more gold, though it's not very useful anymore. And the top inhib is respawning now.
Banshee's Veil is getting well popped by Sneaky's Kog'Maw ultimates, making it so that Altec has to fear a Gragas ultimate even more so, which kind of eliminates his ability to kill turrets. Inhibitor back up, though. It's the easier of the assaults, but with how well Cloud9 is pushing them off here, I don't even think EG can get that.
Looks like the diving crew doesn't really want to dive in anyway. There we go. Damage comes in from Altec. Takes a Kog'Maw ulti, but doesn't care much. Backs on out. Vol's not going to have a knock-in. Welter's still splitting the mid lane. He's got to be careful, though. Last time around, he had to flash away from Meteos. That is a threat. Inhibitor slowly losing health. Crepper losing it a bit faster. High getting the ball in the best spot that he can. And Altec slowly but surely wears that inhibitor down. 2/3 health, one more auto attack, jumps away again. More ult hit Crepo.
Things are getting pretty scary now for EG. They haven't been able to make any progress in this siege, and actually having a couple close encounters that could have went very, very wrong. They now have to set up for a Baron and maybe try again if they can secure a safe Baron buff.
This is scary for EG. This seemed like they were planning on the game win being the siege. They did not set up Baron at all just yet. They're recalling now to restock wards, buy more pinks, and set up Baron only 30 seconds in advance. And you've seen how afraid they were to check into C9. With minions pushed out now, Cloud9 could be in any of these brushes right now.
This is just such a crazy game. Just to kind of step back for a second. Cloud9 is on a 4-game winning streak and favored by many to actually make a run at first place in the standings this week. And EG is in dead last and has a ridiculous scenario with which they can actually make the playoffs. So if they actually win this one, it's another step towards that path. If that could actually happen, it would be one of the most miraculous playoff makes in LCS history. But they first have to close out Cloud9, who is not going down softly.
EG, that playoff run, they need at least 3 wins in the 4 games. There's a movement on high.
Oh,
they're going to go for the knockup. They catch balls a little bit, but Zonia's pop. Pavelter on the side. Looks for Sneaky. Can he find him? Doesn't look for that just yet. Goes for high instead. Pops the Zonia's. Altec is dominating after he picks up balls. High will go down. Now Meteos and Sneaky trying to run away. Only guys left alive. EG going to easily collapse on those. That is the ace with no kills lost. Does Pavelter take that back? Evil geniuses are going to take down Cloud9, push in ever closer to the playoffs.
Wow. What a fight that was by EG. Pobelter in particular, a huge MVP. He gets in gold card range of High Zoriana and gets out alive, then lands multiple gold cards as the rest of EG is piling down, and they finally find the fight they need to take out Cloud9.
And there go the rest of the structures, evil geniuses. They needed 3 wins at least, and that requires other teams cooperating. They've got 1 so far. The bottom 2 teams in the standings are both 1-0 so far in Super Week.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's going to playoffs, Chat.
I mean, that puts EG at 8-17, which is only 2 wins behind Curse for that 6th place spot. Also, you look at Cloud9, they are now 15-10. So if Team Solo Mid wins against LMQ in our next match, they would actually be tied with LMQ for first, and Cloud9 would be sitting alone in 3rd.
Keep in mind, Cloud9 plays TSA later this week as well, so you've got all of these incredibly important matches. C9 looking for top 2. Curse, Complexity, Evil Genius is looking to be top 6, get out of that 7 and 8 spot. All of them have the chance to go where they want in the standings, and it's all about how they play over the next 3 to 4 games.
Yep.
We're just getting started.
And it really feels like EG is kind of playing with nothing to lose here. They have been written off by everyone but themselves. And that's a nice mindset to be able to enter into.
Yeah.
That losing doesn't really have a penalty, because it's so ridiculous that EG could potentially make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's becoming more and more real here.
When you think about it, multiple of these teams have, of course, more games to play. C9 plays later today. Complexity plays later today.
Yeah.
Complexity's got to be watching that game, taking notes and saying, we took down Curse. We could take down another team with C in front of their name. They've got CLG later on as well. Like, all these teams looking to make their runs very late on in the season. So Crepo, a great game for himself. 0-2-16, his overall scoreline. We thought he was going to be an important player. He was. His Braum ults were actually very strong. He ended up catching out Sneaky as one of the people in his ult in that very last fight, pushing him away, lowering his damage output. And
big smile.
yeah.
Right there.